Anyway, what we've done is we've identified a number of areas like disposal, coal-fired. I imagine most of you realize that they're using coal-fired plants to generate their electricity. And we've identified some of the most dangerous, most unsustainable things they're doing at Paradise Resort. And they were very highly dependent on the dispersive use of hydrocarbons as a fuel material. So that's obviously probably the greenhouse gases are going to be very high from the operation of the resort. We depend on materials that have toxic effects in the ecosystem and organisms. We identified a number of chemicals that were being used, the pesticides, the herbicides, some of the other toxic chemicals we identified. Some of them are coming into the landfill that they're using. Lighting from fluorescent bulbs. Some of the other things are spa. The limited access to public transportation. There's got tailpipe emissions from the vehicles are being used. We create barriers that impede employee success and fulfillment. That there's not a lot of training to their employees. Their employees don't feel appreciated. There's what's the number? 75% of employees. That's right. Yeah, hate their work. They don't love it. They'll go and do a group hug and those sorts of things. They're quite interested in learning about environmental activities, but there's not a lot of training, a lot of support for the employees. And we've actually disconnected natural areas. They have this golf course. It's a standard golf course, probably much bigger footprint than is necessary, and some of the other things in waste disposal, etc. They're probably degrading natural areas. We beat up the golf course definitely.
Thank you.
Notice nobody was killed in the movie in this thing. Yes.
Groupings of our individual thoughts into larger thoughts, and in the words of one of our teammates, we feel like these are confessions. We feel like we know what we've been doing bad at Paradise Hotels. One, we are highly reliant on fossil fuels. We know this. Our energy needs are increasing as a result of aging infrastructure. Our overall maintenance, which includes the entire property inside and out, frequently uses materials that have toxic effects on the ecosystems and organisms. The access to the resort relies heavily on fossil fuels as well, either by the employees or taking our visitors onto site. We also rely on disposable materials either through our catering company or in our spas. We lack a sustainable culture within our organization, which is our plug for education, empowering employees as well. Any questions?
Golfers at that age.
We're hungry.
No. Cursors and swingers.
Oh, swingers?
Yeah.
You should hear the stories from those.
Oh! That's fun for you, isn't it? That's positive.
Okay, quite a messy board here. Got a lot of post-it notes. Anyway, number one, we had basically energy and water. The drawdown on the capital for the fossil fuels and the emissions as a result, and how sacred clean water is to us. We thought that was high importance, high volume, high cost. Right down to box 4, which we had the smaller stuff like the cleaning chemicals and supplies and whatnot, land use for the golf course, etc. So what we came out with was we kind of prioritized by our boxes. So 7. Number 1, our dependency on fossil fuels with hotel, also transportation. Number 2 was the water, of course, for the hotel, the restaurant, the landscaping. Granted, it's a moist environment, but they still use water for the grounds. Dependent on non-renewable resources for the restaurant in terms of purchasing a lot of foil, a lot of plastics, and that sort of thing, and then ending up in landfills. dependent on toxic chemicals for the treatment for the grounds and the golf course and possibly other outdoor recreation. We don't provide an environmental health and wellness, we didn't think, for the employees, which struck a chord with us. Number 6, do not use environmentally preferred soap and cleaners in the hotel. And 7, there wasn't anything around policy towards frequent procurement, so we